Hello, thanks for joining us today. Coming of Age, from a gorgeous, nostalgic love story set in the Italian countryside to what's being called the first truly feminist teen movie. Welcome to today's film show.
Lady Bird, is that your given name?
Yeah.
Why is it in quotes?
I gave it to myself. It's given to me by me.
Blessed be the mystery of love.
Call me by your name and I'll call you by mine.
And we're joined in the studio by our film critic, Lisa Nesselson. Hello, Lisa.
Louise.
And we're starting with actress Greta Gerwig's directing debut, Lady Bird. Now, it's out in France this week. It's been nominated for 5 Oscars, and it's pretty tough to find a negative word written about it.
Okay, well, don't worry. I'm not going to be the one to upset the organic apple cart. This film was a very pleasant surprise. I liked everything about it, and I didn't expect to because writer-director Greta Gerwig has been getting on my nerves on and off as an actress. But here I have to say she really delivers behind the camera. In this loosely autobiographical tale about being a teenager in Sacramento, California in the 1990s, Saoirse Ronan is her stand-in and is perfectly cast, as is Laurie Metcalf as her mother, with whom she has a vividly entertaining love-hate relationship. Christine Lady Bird McPherson, that's what she has renamed herself, is in her last year of high school. She has an older adopted brother, a chubby and vivacious best friend, a sort of boyfriend, maybe 2, and a combative relationship with her mother, who works hard to support the family since her dad's unemployment has become pretty precarious. Lady Bird is bright and cranky and funny, and her existence is semi-ruled by the fact that her family really doesn't have enough money. Let's take a look.
Why can't I just make the eggs?
Because you take too long, you make a big mess, and I have to clean the whole thing up.
Eggs aren't good for the environment anyways. What?
You heard her.
Eat quickly, please.
Look at all these pictures. Every newspaper looks like USA Today.
Shelly and I are trying to be vegan, hence the soy milk.
You wear leather jackets.
But they're vintage, so they don't support the industry.
They aren't done. There's white stuff.
You know how much you love Brambles? Pigs are smarter than him, even.
I never thought Brambles was a genius, okay? Mom, the eggs are not done.
Fine, make your own eggs.
I wanted to. You won't let me.
Sister doesn't like me.
I'm hungry.
She does.
There's your chance, going to bed.
It's a familiar scene, isn't it? Every year, in every filmmaking nation, there are coming-of-age stories. What makes this one special?
Well, it is a broad template we've seen before, granted, but the movie gets the mix of bittersweet and laugh out loud exactly right. Ronan is completely convincing as a 17-year-old American girl who yearns for more out of life and suspects she'll have to go to a big city to get it. And Metcalf is simply incredible as her mother. Now, the 2 women are up for Best Actress and Best Supporting Actress, respectively. Gerwig is up for Best Director and Original Screenplay, and it goes without saying that the performances are boosted by dialogue that's punchy and true, and situations that also have the ring of truth. The sense of place of Sacramento, of the West Coast, is outstanding. The relationships between the characters are very nicely modulated, and there are multiple scenes of deep, genuine emotion. Timothy Chalamet, about whom we'll speak more in a moment, makes his mark as a brooding, self-styled, intellectual classmate. And between his cool character and Lady Bird's far more enthusiastic, close male buddy from drama class, the film does an excellent job of sketching what budding romance feels like at age 17 from a girl's point of view.
Well, I interviewed the star Saoirse Ronan a couple of weeks ago. She's only 23, and this is her 3rd Oscar nomination. She told us about her very first forays into the world of romance.
My first kiss was on screen for a film, for the very first film that I did when I was 11. And the director said, yeah, okay, so you're going to kiss now. And I was like, okay, yeah. So how long do you want this kiss to go on for? And she was like, I don't know, like a few seconds or whatever. And I was like, no, let's be specific. How many seconds? So I kissed a boy for 3 seconds exactly, from one take to the next.
You can watch the rest of my interview with Saoirse Ronan on our website, france24.com. Now to one of the best films I've seen for a very long time. I absolutely love Call Me By Your Name. The general consensus is that it's an achingly exquisite portrait of first love. It's up for 4 Oscars. What do you think?
Deep breath. I was very psyched to see this. I've enjoyed several of the director's previous movies, the unapologetically over-the-top I Am Love and the unapologetically over-the-top A Bigger Splash, both showcases for the glorious Tilda Swinton. I like many, many aspects of what's on screen here, but I honestly don't think it really holds together as a film. I find the dialogue and the storytelling annoyingly flawed in places. Some people automatically swoon over movies that happen to be set in the French or Italian countryside. This is set in northern Italy in the summer in the early 1980s. Elio Perlman, a 17-year-old American, is vacationing with his folks at his mother's side of the family's very nice estate, complete with a live-in Italian cook. His father is an art history professor at a top American university. They're really cool, permissive, accepting parents, and the local girls are available to Elio in that way that shapely young women in films set in Europe so often are. Anyway, Elio engages in making out and what we used to call heavy petting, but his world of swimming and eating good food outdoors is thrown for a loop when one of his dad's graduate students, a certain Oliver, comes for a summer-long tutorial. Oliver, played by 6'4", terminally handsome Armie Hammer, is a Jewish Adonis who dresses to maximize views of the gorgeous body in which he feels completely comfortable. Elio's boyish body is attracted to Oliver's manly body, and here's some artsy, bare-chested jousting where refined name-dropping fills in for ravenous hanky-panky. Let's watch.
I can't believe you changed it again.
Oh, I changed it a little bit.
Yeah, why?
I just played it the way Busoni would have played it if he'd altered Liszt's version.
And what is wrong with Bach, the way Bach would have played Bach's
Bach never wrote it for the guitar. In fact, we're not even sure Bach wrote it
Forget
at all.
I asked.
Well, there we saw him playing the piano. Timothée Chalamet's performance is absolutely breathtaking. He's getting a lot of attention for this role, including an Oscar nomination.
He's outstanding. He's absolutely outstanding. The film itself didn't completely convince me, but that has nothing to do with his performance. He couldn't be better. He conveys the absolute disarray of being 17, of being awash in hormones you didn't ask for, that are invading your every waking moment and also robbing you of sleep. And as a measure of social progress, I'd just like to point out that not that long ago, playing a homosexual character was considered career suicide for an actor. Tom Hanks made that territory safer in 1993 in Philadelphia, the first mainstream film to tackle AIDS and homophobia, and Sean Penn further moved the needle toward acceptance as Harvey Milk. Now, Eve, you interviewed the director, and here he is, I believe, explaining to us why he doesn't understand why some people are clamoring for something in his movie.
The idea that a movie that includes love, intimacy, and sex between two same-gender people has to showcase certain degrees of graphicness and full frontal nudity to affirm its integrity is as exotic as saying that in a movie in which you have a cannibal, you have to see real human flesh being eaten. So I think this is a movie in which you have to experience the intimacy of these people. And I don't see how that has to do with lowering the camera framing to their parts, to their sexual parts. I just don't get it.
Listen to him all day.
Me too. Just a few weeks ago, this director said that he would like to make a sequel to Call Me By Your Name that looks in on Elio and Oliver years after they first met and fell in love. And there's a French connection in that the director has stated, quote, "I think Elio will be a cinephile, and I'd like him to be in a movie theater in the first shot watching Paul Vecchiali's Once More," end quote. And Once More is a very good 1988 French film with gay romance and the onslaught of AIDS as major components.
Excellent. A film that you should definitely watch, Call Me By Your Name. Well, most people have never heard of the director we saw there, Luca Guadagnino or Greta Gerwig, but they have heard of Alfred Hitchcock, and his film The Birds is being re-released in France this week.
I should hope they've heard of him. Yes, it is a classic film. Tippi Hedren, in her screen debut, plays Melanie Daniels, a self-assured young woman who ends up in the waterfront community of Bodega Bay, California, in order to play a prank on Mitch Brenner, played by Rod Taylor, who she met in a San Francisco pet shop. So what starts out as a sort of screwball comedy veers into much creepier territory when birds start behaving with suicidal malice. In its own delicious way, it is a film that doesn't really wrap up neatly, but that is absolutely deliberate, whereas too often movies just don't really make sense. I'm glad we're talking about Hitchcock because in light of accusations that have rocked Hollywood in recent months, there is no doubt that Alfred Hitchcock behaved inappropriately toward many of his leading ladies. But it would be ludicrous to stop watching his movies because of that. He was so angry at Tippi Hedren for refusing his advances that he set out to put a stop to her career. And as the wonderful Miss Hedren says, quote, Hitchcock ruined my career, but he didn't ruin my life. I was not about to give him that power, end quote. Now, if it looks as if Tippi Hedren is getting real birds thrown at her in close quarters, that's because in certain scenes she is. It probably wasn't very nice for the birds. It definitely wasn't very nice for Hedren, but the dismay and the blood on her face is stunning to behold and captured on celluloid. Everybody should see The Birds on the big screen at least once in their lives. It's eerie and haunting movie making for grown-ups that stands the test of time.
Okay, Lisa, thank you very much. And we're going to leave you with The Birds. And remember our website, we're also on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. There's more news coming up on France 24 after this.